Welcome to All That Wine with Susannah Gold and me. Today is sort of an introduction to All That Wine. So we're step by step trying to get the Substack publication going. And so far, it's easier to have these live streams. So we had the Bocale last week, and this week we want to tell you a bit more about what our ideas with All That Wine and how we can also help wineries and wine businesses. So, Susannah,
Well,
take over.
it's so nice to see you, and thank you for setting up these live streams. Yes, it's been easier to set up live streams than it has to get everything going, but I'm glad we finally launched this publication. And this idea, we can call it a platform where we'll be doing a number of different things, including live streams, including our newsletter, and offering services to wineries. But I thought maybe we'd start by introducing ourselves and how we decided to work together and what our ideas are. So I don't remember when we met, Caterina. I think it was at a wine event in Florence. Is that right? Is that where we met for the first time, or was it online? I mean, you were one of the early adapters of Twitter, now X, and all of the other platforms. So I think I
Might
probably,
have been online actually.
I think it was online. Yeah. It
Yeah, I
must
think
have
it
been.
was in the early days of Twitter, probably.
I
Might
think
have
so.
been in what's her group? She did the
Wine
wine
education.
studio. Wine
Yeah, wine
studio.
studio with Tina Mori.
Yeah, Tina Mori.
Yep, she was a very early adapter of doing
Mm.
everything online, and I worked often with her for different consortium that I was representing in the States, and I think that's where we first
Yeah,
met.
I think that was because I think we didn't meet in person until I don't know 2018 or 2000.
Oh, a while later, because those wine. Oh, I'm sorry. Those wine studio events were, at least the ones I did, were in the 2010 to maybe 15, 16.
Yeah.
So anyway, we met, and I was impressed with your online skill set, which was much more advanced than mine. And I thought, I want to get to know this woman. I want to know what she's about. I want to know why a Swede with a PhD is living in Florence, the city of my heart. And
Yeah.
so I was really curious to meet you. And then we finally met. And in the meantime, I will just introduce myself. So my name is Susannah Gold. I think I'm Italian, but I'm really a New Yorker. And I'm currently, and for the foreseeable future anyway, unless I get another passport, in New York. And I have been interested in Italian wine for, gosh, I don't know, 28 years, a long time. So I used to live in Italy. I used to live in Florence. And it's where I really just became enamored with everything Italian. So whenever I see Caterina, it's usually in Florence or in some other beautiful Italian city. And I always think, maybe I made the wrong choice. Maybe I should be living there. But anyway, my passion for Italian wine has been longstanding. And for many years since I moved back to the States, I've been kind of navigating two worlds between writing about wine and also helping Italian companies promote their consortium, their region, their products here in the United States. I do a lot of wine education. I'm currently an adjunct lecturer at the university. I'm CUNY, which is the City University of New York, and I'm teaching about Italian wine, which is really something I love passionately, as does Caterina. And so we thought that maybe together we would come up with something where we could share both our knowledge about Italian wine, but also help producers. So, Caterina, why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, yeah. I mean, as we said before, I did a lot of Twitter because I kind of started out, I think, around 2010, 11 with having fun on Twitter, but not really in an organized way. And then the wine came in, I think, around 2000, yeah, 11, 12 in the picture. But I'm actually, well, I started in academia, so I came to, because close to Florence, the European Union has their official research institute. So I was accepted there to do a PhD. I think in 98 or 99, so that's a long time ago. But then when I finished around 2004, 2005, um, well, for anyone who has done a PhD, it can be a bit traumatic when you finish, because you don't really know where you're going or what you want to do if you're not really focused on the academic life, which I wasn't. So I taught a bit. I went back and forth to Sweden to teach there, but as many academics know, it's a bit of a, even if you do a PhD, there's not much money. The last 20 years, money is more scarce also in the academic world. So it was a bit of being an academic proletarian, I call it, for another 10 years if you wanted to make it. And I wasn't really that into to continue in that sense. So I kind of just decided to stay in Florence after a while, and I just started opening my own freelance translation business. And then I got into wine, and then it kind of just went from there. Actually, it was through Twitter that everything started, because there were some Americans who were into the tech and marketing world, who some of them I think also collect Italian wine, who kind of in this very American way, which for Europeans sometimes is a bit weird, that you want to give back. So they started kind of wanting to help me for free, having kind of Zoom calls with me, to explain how to better get visibility and stuff like that, and what to do, which I found was very odd. So I was just like, okay, I mean, we can have a call. I mean, that's very nice of you, but and it actually changed everything. So that's how I kind of got into live streaming, because a few people
That's so
said you have to do live streams, because it was when all the apps came out in, I think, in spring and summer of 2015, like Periscope and Meerkat, which probably nobody knows what it is now, and the blab.im was the first kind of desktop platform that you could use for live streaming, which was pretty cool. So I started doing that, which was crazy. I had no idea what I was doing, but it was a lot of fun. And I got some producers to kind of get on the video with me. I think they were very brave, because I was like, just do it. and that's how it started. So, and
that's
then
so.
I met you.
Mm. I'm just very interested in the way you described Americans, which was another reason that I thought it would be interesting for us to collaborate, because we do look at things in a different way. You being a Swede and a European, and me being American, even if I have a patina of something else, at the end of the day, I am an American. And so the idea that people were offering you their time, and this idea of giving back, I guess it is very American. And it's interesting that that's how you really began also your kind of tech Twitter life. I don't think you ever
I
told me.
mean, yeah, I think I wouldn't. I think it was. I mean, it was definitely thanks to these people that I managed to be like, 1 or 2 years before everything happened here in Italy,
Mm-hmm.
especially in Italy. I guess in UK they were also a bit, ahead, a bit like the US, but for the rest of Europe, I think they were very much behind. So,
That's so
uh,
interesting.
and
I love.
especially Italy. I mean, now if you would ask people who are all kind of perfectionists when it comes to live streaming and to things like that, which took off, I guess, during the pandemic more. Uh, they probably don't know what I'm talking about. They don't know who I am or what I did. But 2015 to 2019, when I did it almost every week, when I had this Wines with the live stream. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it was basically more about the content, and to get online. I mean, there were so many. Sometimes, the producer couldn't get in, or the kind of the audio didn't work, or the platform was too heavy, so you couldn't kind of start. And it was just like you did it anyway. It wasn't really that. I think
That's
now there are two. I mean, it's good to also have perfection, but I think it's too much about the design and that it looks good now. I think it's
yes. less about the content and more about the
I think a lot of people do the same things now. It all looks good in different ways, which is great. But I think there was more, of course, in the beginning you experiment much more. But I think you did a lot of crazy stuff in the beginning that perhaps you're a bit afraid of doing.
afraid of doing now. So we decided to launch this project a couple of years ago. We talked about it, and we've
Yeah,
gone back and forth.
it's been a long time coming.
A long time coming. We're kind of like two elephants having a baby each, so it takes
Yeah,
2 years to have a baby if you're an elephant. But so it's taken about 2 years for us actually to finally get this off the ground. And we are starting from the ground up. And I like the fact that just the way you started when you were doing your first Twitter live streams and when you were doing things at first, we're not yet perfecting it, but we're launching it anyway, which is much more akin to sort of my personality. If I had to look perfect every time I got on the screen, I would
no.
never be able to do it. I just can't. I have a child, he's young, and it's very hard to just get everything together to look perfect. And anyway, that's really not what all that wine is about. It's really going to be about the
Yeah,
wine business. It's going to be about news about the wine business because we have insight into the American market and the Swedish market and the European market. We are going to also bring that market intelligence. Do you want to talk about a little bit about what we're thinking about offering as services in addition to our newsletter component?
well, we were thinking about trying to create a community, no? I mean, I guess a community about wine in general, but also specifically for who needs perhaps our services, which could be, I guess, wineries. So it could also be a way to assist in a cheaper way, perhaps for small to mid-sized wineries, because if they kind of join the community, they can get tips, and if I guess we would hold a monthly workshop or something,
Yep.
and perhaps other specific short manuals or whatever that could help them in their storytelling or marketing. I mean, I guess you from the point of view also more to PR in the US. Me more about perhaps content creation and how to easily edit and get content out there without it having to be perfect or too time consuming.
Which
Um,
really feeds into a market need because, as we both know, wineries, unless you're huge and you have a big OCM, so European Union funding, and even then those budgets are getting cut, people don't really have the funds to hire an agency or even an internal person to do it. So
yeah,
oftentimes people don't promote their wineries or their content or their products at all, and still use websites and technology that's very antiquated and don't have tech sheets and don't speak to consumers. And it's all part of helping to get brand identity for a winery, and of course at the end of the day to increase their sales, right?
yeah.
And
Also because I mean, networking is everything now, and I'm helping one winery also with international contacts more towards sales. I mean, it's not only about sales. I mean, you have to also be part of the rest of the game, so to say. You have to get visibility. You have to be out there and telling your story. Doesn't mean that you have to be on social media like 7 days a week, but you have to somehow have a strategy or something to tell your story, which can be in a newsletter or via social media, or you can have, I don't know, like a Q&A like we have now, like a short Q&A. Wineries are still very afraid of video if you're not the bigger one, because it seems like they think that they would do something not polished or whatever. So it's always difficult to get them to do these kind of Q&As. And
Do you find that that is, I find that definitely to be true about wineries where, the owners are perhaps an older generation. Do you think the younger generations are having the same feeling? What's
No,
your,
no, I think they do a lot of video, but I think it's also sometimes either the video is too polished.
Mhm.
I think there, if you do this kind of thing, it has to be a bit more interactive. I think the interactive part is lacking, but also bigger brands have, I think, the problem of having a dialogue with their community or their followers or who is in their newsletter. I think the dialogue and the interaction is probably what would bring them more trust and more sales in the long run. But it takes a bit more effort. That's true. So it's not that easy. But I mean, for sure, the younger generation does a lot of video. Um,
do you, how do you see the market kind of evolving? Have you seen, um, more brands moving on one platform rather than another? Or what's your view kind of what has been working and what hasn't been working?
well, I think most people are still on Instagram or TikTok now, I guess. But TikTok, I think also if you have someone younger who do the TikTok for you, because it's like if I do TikTok, it's not going to have the same results because I'm not the TikTok generation. I mean, I can learn, but I think it's much faster if you hire someone who is between 25 and 35 to do the TikTok, because otherwise I think it's just wasted time actually.
Even 20 and to 25, in terms of their
True.
ages, right?
Yeah, because there you have to be like also there being interactive is everything, and you have to be part of the to know all the memes and the what is working for the moment, which kind of videos they do, and the trends and so forth. And I think you have to do it well if you want to do it. And but of course, it's an important channel. I think LinkedIn is the most undiscovered channel that no Italian. I mean, there are wineries who use LinkedIn, but they don't really use it. They use it as if it was Facebook, which is a big error in my opinion.
That's very interesting. I think one of the things that we will be doing when we launch our community part of All That Wine are talking about all of these specific platforms and how wineries and winemakers can use these platforms, and showcasing some of the ones that we think have been successful, because it really is a full-time job, and winemakers and owners are winemakers and owners, so they already have a full-time job. In my experience in the last, I would say, 5 years, so since the pandemic, when a lot of people, including myself, really began to push more on Instagram, that has sort of taken off in ways that can be interesting with all of the influencers. But now it basically, like, your feed doesn't really tell you anything. So I think there's really a dearth of information. There's a lot of beautiful content, a lot of beautiful locations and travel and gastronomy and wine tours, but you're really kind of losing some of the content and some of the information, which is, as journalists and bloggers and intellectuals of a kind, certainly, I'm really interested in the content of what is happening. I'm interested in indigenous grapes. I'm interested in people's stories. I'm interested in telling people's stories. I'm interested in their local delicacies and why, a grape Tazzalenghe is from Friuli and what that means and who rediscovered it and how many vines are there that, began it. So all of those things. And I know I'm not alone, because I can tell when I teach or when I'm leading a seminar that those things really jazz people up. And I think that's getting lost in this sort of beautiful, polished way of doing social media now. And so those are kind of some of the things that we would be talking about in our community, and talking to each person who participates and seeing what's been working for them. Because I have found, for example, I am not somebody who is talented on TikTok. It's not my forte. I don't love to watch videos all day long. And I feel like you have to really love something to do it well. And
No, for sure. I mean, I think we should get someone in, like not from the wine world, but someone who really knows TikTok from a more marketing point of view, which there's a lot of people in the communities I follow who could come and talk about TikTok. So, I mean, that would also be a benefit to join our community now, that you would get actually, because I think that could also be, what we want to do, no? That to the things that we are not experts on, because we can't be experts on everything.
exactly.
We would invite people to talk about that, but people who are actually are good at it, not
Right.
some wine person who has fidgeted with TikTok, but rather to someone who knows, who can really kind of explain tricks to do it well. I mean,
Exactly. I love the way you think. So
and I
yes,
think there we have to actually go to the US, because it's the
I
you
think
know
that's true. But
to
let's talk about the global nature of all that wine. So while I am American and we have access to the US, and you, of course, have loads of contacts and friends here in the US, what about the Swedish market and the Scandinavian market and the European market? What are you seeing that's different from what you're seeing in the US than what we see in the US?
I mean, it's a very new market and it's a very small market, but still people are very into wine right now. So it's very kind of, there's a big interest in wine. And I mean, now I'm not an expert on Sweden either, because I live here, but writing for a Swedish journal, and talking to the people, I mean, I think the natural wine trend is still big in Sweden. So there's big interest in learning about native grapes, low intervention wine, and so forth. But then there's also another side with the people who have a more not conservative view of wine, but they like this kind of bigger, bolder wines. But I think that the big, perhaps group in the middle, like they also like this kind of more slimmer, contemporary wines. And I think there's an interest in learning about wine, but also learning its identity. So how a wine is connected to the local territory. So even if Tuscany and Piedmont are big as regions, there's a lot of interest also, from north to south. So it's a market that a lot of wineries want to enter, but of course it's difficult, because you have to find a smaller importer who is interested in investing in you to bring you in through the monopoly. Because the monopoly themselves, I think, mostly take bigger producers where they can get tenders, or they can kind of get bigger volumes.
Mm.
Um, so the smaller importers who work mainly with private clients or restaurants, so the Horeca. Um, but now when I work with a winery to kind of try and approach Swedish buyers, so a lot of them want to have wineries with the sustainability certification, because it's important for them. Not all, but you have to be organic. I think it's hard to well, with a monopoly, probably you can also be non-organic, but I think organic is almost a must nowadays.
So
Um,
those are the kinds of things that being part of our community and,
yeah,
as I was saying, market intelligence are things that we are looking to share with
yeah,
producers about the differences, because there are monopolies in the United States as well, in different states like Pennsylvania, but it's a different monopoly. Some of the same rules apply as to Sweden, but for example, the certainly not the same interest on sustainable brands or organic wine. You could say that could be true in a state like Oregon. And of course, um, we have 50 markets in the United States, right?
yeah.
50 states, and every market is different. So all of those kind of things are things that we will be talking about and looking into. And someone asked me if our focus was going to be only on Italian wine. And I said, well, yes,
A lot, but not only.
not only, but that is our big focus. But recently I was at a wine tasting of Friuli Venezia Giulia, and it's so interesting that, crossover with Slovenia and all of their grapes and wines. So we have a lot of areas that we can explore and talk about. And I'm excited for our new platform. And
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's a work in progress, as we said. So I mean, we're going to kind of develop the step by step. So, but this is like the beginning, I think. So the ideas is to are to both be, as you said, like to give news about the industry and the markets, and then of course to have the other side to assist wineries and wine businesses with.
and of
Uh,
course, articles on regions and all of the
yeah,
wonderful experiences that you've been having. As I look at your feed, I'm like, oh, I wish I were in Italy and I just got to go to that 100th year anniversary dinner or Emozione del Vino del Mondo, in Bergamo. So all of those wonderful experiences we will be writing.
yeah, yeah. They're coming. I'm a bit slow still with
Who
writing.
isn't? I'm slow as well. Very slow. Things are coming, but I have gotten slowed down. I'm not sure what happened or why, but it always seems like September starts and then the year just races on.
Yeah,
A lot
but
is happening in the wine industry. And in October, it's very busy here in the United States, in Italy as well. Do you think things calm down a little bit in November in terms of events? And
no, I think November is as many events as October probably. I think
really, that's
December might be a bit less. Yeah, but I still get kind of invitations to things like next week and the week after. But so yeah, there's a lot of events. I mean, now the I'm going to Bolzano.
oh, what are you doing in Bolzano? Oh, are you going to? It's not Suma. It's the Alto Adige 2-year summit. Is that it?
No, that was in September.
Okay.
No, it's the Cantina di Bolzano has a tasting before Merano.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, so I'm going there.
Oh,
Um,
I love the Cantina di Bolzano,
yeah,
as you
thanks
know.
to Riccardo. Grazie, Riccardo. Gabriele.
Okay, that's interesting. So, are they doing a tasting in Bolzano?
Yeah, at their winery before the Merano, I think, or if it's just the day before, I think Merano starts.
Oh, that's lovely. Which is in November, November 14th. Is that
No, I think it's 6th November because I think Merano starts on the 7th or
on the
something.
7th? That's very interesting. I was working with the Cantina di Bolzano in the United States this
Ah,
year.
yeah, I remember.
Wow. So what they have amazing wines. I love their Riesling. I love their Kerner. I like the Sauvignon Blanc a lot. I'm not particularly, it's not my favorite grape, but I really like theirs, and their Tauber is amazing. So I hope you get to
Yeah.
taste all of those wines. And
Well,
it's
I
a
did actually because we visited. No, we didn't visit a winery, but we went to this kind of uh, how do you say mountain
oh, a
restaurant.
Refugio. You went to like
Yeah, Rifugio at the summit 2 years ago.
oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, but then
That's
I never wrote that much about it because, well, things
well,
happen.
there's always time now. You can
Yeah,
refresh your palate. So that sounds wonderful. Maybe we'll get Matthias to come on, Messner, the director of the Cantina di Bolzano, and talk
yeah,
all
that
about.
would be cool.
I would love that. And the Cantina di Bolzano is a wonderful, exciting winery. And I'm not just saying that because they were my client for a while this year, because their wines are great. And I'd love to talk about the co-op story because cooperatives are such an important part of the Italian wine scene, and they're just not talked about enough. And so I'd love that to be part of what we talk about and promote. And when we first talked about doing this project, we talked a lot about having it very focused also on sustainability and climate change and all of that. And the Cantina di Bolzano is a perfect winery in that they're a climate house and all of the attention that they pay to the
Oh,
environment. So that building, I've never been to it, but I've seen 1,000 pictures of it. It's, like looks like leaves on the outside.
yeah.
Yeah. So you ask him if he'll come on a live stream. I'd love
Yeah,
to.
I'll ask him. I mean, I hope we'll get to see the winery this time. So,
I'm sure you'll get to see the winery this time.
yeah.
Well, that's very exciting. Next week, what am I doing next week in the wine industry here in New York? I missed a Chilean tasting yesterday, and I was thinking that there was a Hungarian tasting tomorrow, but I think there's not. So I'm probably going to be in my blind tasting group. That's maybe my next big event. We have a big group of blind tasters who taste together wines from all over the world, and we taste according to the wines that are on the advanced sommelier list. So Italian wines, there's only two wines basically. It's like Pinot Grigio and Sangiovese, so very, very limited. And every time we taste Pinot Grigio blind, we miss it. Everybody at the table.
Really?
Yes, because we taste Pinot Grigios from different areas of the world and different Pinot Grigios from Italy, and everybody constantly misses it. And people think it's Kerner or they think it's Gruner. So I've tried to taste a lot of Pinot Grigio lately to kind of up my game in terms of getting it right. Blind tasting is a very hard but fun.
Yeah, I'm not very good at blind tasting.
I'm not that good at it either, but if the more you practice, the better you get at it. And doing it with a whole bunch of sommeliers or people in the industry once a month is very, very fun. And
that is cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have that? Do you have a tasting group in?
No, I don't have that here, which is a pity. I tried to get friends to set it up, but no, everybody's so busy, so it never happens.
Yeah. No, I joined this tasting group. I want to have another tasting group also. But it's really great to have a tasting group. I think it really helps you to understand different parts of the market. And so I've really enjoyed that. So that's what's coming up for me, and hopefully some more live streams with you and more writing to get our platform off the ground.
True. Well, I think, the live streams we'll probably do quite frequently because it's easier to set up. So the writing will come step by step, I think.
That's okay. Well, yes.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. Mm-hmm. I like your approach, and it's works for me too. So I think it's going to be a great collaboration. Thank you for setting this up. And
no, it's fun. For me, I'm doing it right without thinking now. So
we had such a good conversation last week with Valentino Valentini from Bovale, from Montefalco. I was really excited after we got off the phone with him, because the last time I saw you was actually also in Montefalco, which is fun.
It was.
That was a really great event. Cool. It was.
Cool. Mm. And then Valentino is always great because he you just tell him the what we want to talk about, and then he starts. So
that's a real gift. I can see how he was the mayor of the town. It's this is something we'll also be talking about in our community, about what it's like to do public speaking to journalists and to the media, because it does make people nervous, and practice can make better, but it's a skill. It's a skill set. And
also to select what to talk about. To understand what's interesting for the people in front of you, because obviously it's not what you find interesting, but who you're speaking to, and because in the end you want them to be interested in your winery when you stop speaking. So
True. Well, Valentino certainly made me want to go right back to Montefalco. I was very impressed with his response to, we were talking about, of course, Sagrantino is the big grape that people know well from Montefalco, and it's very famous, but there's another amazing white grape that has become famous as well, called Trebbiano Spoletino. And rather than, looking or feeling like maybe Trebbiano was taking away some of the light from Sagrantino, he turned that around and said, no, it's the opposite. It's that all the interest in Trebbiano will also help Sagrantino. And I really liked that as a response. I was surprised that was his take on it. And I was happy that was his take on it. I thought that was very good marketing and also true. Right.
Well, yeah. He sees the bigger picture. Obviously, from his experience, I guess, as a mayor and wine producer. So, but I think it's true. I think it's also was really good when they included the Trebbiano Spoletino in the consortium.
Yes. Yes.
Because it helps. It is a wine that people like a lot. As a white wine, it's much more approachable. It's much more fun to drink, I think.
And it can be made into so many styles. I just love it. when we were there. I was very excited by that. I was also excited, as I mentioned in our chat, by the Montefalco Rosso, which I had kind of, ignored a bit prior. But I liked his take on it, and that was sort of my takeaway from it, that he did look at it, as you said, from the 1,000-foot view as a mayor and as a person who this other grape is bringing people in, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean it's a great wine. It's a bit like, I think, all the the Rosso di Montalcino, the Rosso di Montefalco. What do we more have?
Rosso di Montepulciano, Rosso di
Rosso
Montefalco,
di Montepulciano.
Rosso di Montalcino. Yep, agreed. Also because
I mean, especially for Montefalco, because you have a bit of Sagrantino there, so you
exactly
you get acquainted to the grape. And
exactly. And I find it makes the Sangiovese, there's like a little added pepper and spice. So I thought it made it a really interesting kind of, not an everyday exactly wine, but almost, in a good way. So that was exciting to me. And I really enjoyed talking to him. And just like Matthias Messner, who's also very good on video, as you can imagine, very polished and kind of just very good at it. But that's a skill set. And we're happy to help other people get that skill set or work on their own skill set.
And I think we can do both in Italian and in English. So for producers who wants to come in, I mean, they can do it in Italian too. We can
exactly. Yes, that is something that I am really excited about as well. There's nothing I like better than speaking Italian, to be honest. In a glass of wine, as most people who know me know, it is my real love.
And I mean, I guess part also of the community workshops can be in Italian, because I guess some wineries might have difficulties with English, even if they need to push on that, I guess, to tell their story. But I mean, we can do also parts of it in Italian, I think. So.
Absolutely. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
No, thank you. Do we have anything more we want to add? I think we've gone over a lot.
We've gone over a lot of what we're thinking about and going to be doing, and introducing ourselves. And I think that's about it for now. I mean, we haven't decided yet on what our sort of timing will be. Like, will we send out a newsletter every week? Will we send out bi-weekly information? We're still working on that, but we will get that going.
Yeah. So, I mean, we will put, for those of you who are listening in, we will put the link. I'll put the link in the comments here, so you can sign up to our Substack or follow us there. And I think that's it. And if you watch it then on YouTube, there will be the how do you say, the subtitles, I think, in Italian, for anyone who wants to have that. I think so.
Great.
And I'll send you also the video if you want to upload to your.
I would love that. Thank you so much. Oh, yes. Let's mention we are together in All That Wine, but let's mention our own channels. Yours is called?
Grapevine Adventures everywhere.
Mine, I have a couple. So I have Vigneto Comms on Instagram. My website is Vigneto Communications, and my blog life is under Avinare. So it's great to see you, and I will see you soon. If not in person, at least virtually.
Yeah, that's true. So look out for the next live stream. We're not sure who will be the guest yet, but we will let you know. And then look in the comments, both on Instagram and on LinkedIn, and I will put it on Facebook too, to go and subscribe to our Substack publication. So
great.
Thank you, and see you soon.
See you soon. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao.